Dun, 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 dun. Yay! I'm Aaron Overton, Heatherstone Academy. We're going to have an interview. This is the day. This is my guest, Whitney Short with Borg Law Group. So we don't waste any more time. I'm going to go jump straight into what we're going to do as an interview. Look how she's smiling. It's the best thing ever. Okay, here's the most pressing question for you of all time, Whitney. Why did you choose to name your law firm after an alien species from Star Trek?
It was named after that, so it's not my law firm. So that's the issue, is that I can't really answer the question because I didn't name it. No.
If you had named it, why would you have named it Borg Law Group after an alien species that is very dangerous from Star Trek?
No, that's not the question. The question is, why wouldn't I be practicing criminal law if I was going to name it Borg Law Group? Is actually probably what you meant.
Okay, so the worst thing in the world is to try to interview an attorney, as you can see. So as you can see, she's also a fantastic attorney because she can't answer a straight question, which is designed to be a funny question. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and move on. What's the real source of Borg Law? Like,
Borg Law Group was, Borg is the last name of the attorney who owns the firm.
Yeah, see, there's the answer that I was hoping for from the outset, because then I could say, so there's no aliens involved? Let me take some notes.
Well, I didn't
Okay,
say,
but we'll move on.
I didn't say
Okay,
that.
what's that?
I didn't say that there weren't, though.
Okay, well, hopefully there are. And so just to give people like a little background about it, so where did you assimilate your knowledge of the law?
That's where you're gonna throw it in, right? I graduated from Boyd School of Law in Las Vegas here, where I also graduated from undergrad. And during law school, you go through various, I don't know, externships or internships, whatever you want to call them, if you're getting paid or not. And I started out at a criminal law firm, hated it, thought that I should move more into preemptive law, found Borg Law Group, and they are amazing people. And it isn't likely that an attorney will stay at the same firm that she started with when she graduates and stay there through her career. Most attorneys will leave after 1 or 2 years. I have been here 5 years and have no plans of leaving because they are amazing people.
That is pretty cool. You did use a phrase that I think people would like to be able to understand a little better. What is presumptive law then? What does that mean?
So it's setting people up for success so they don't have to sue people later or get sued later. So that's such things as estate planning or contracts, things that you can, that will keep you out of the court instead of litigating, I guess.
Okay, so your focus is on specifically will, trust, probate. Is that correct? And then business transactional is kind of a also like a thing you also do, or both?
No, I would say 33% across the board.
Between, I thought I listed two things, and the math person in me is saying
estate planning is separate from probate.
Okay.
Right? They're not the same because one, you wouldn't end up in probate. The other is what happens when you don't have estate planning, and then business.
Okay. So, so it's interesting. That's about a third that way. That's pretty cool. And which is the one that's actually the thing that you like the most of those three?
I like probate the best.
Right. But then that takes like a really long time, and it ends up being kind of expensive for people, right?
Yes, but I feel like that's where I can actually help people. And I mean, you help people all the time, but these people are in a really bad situation when they come to see me.
Right. And there's a rumor on the street, though, that somehow you like love adoption work too. Is that true?
It's just a rumor. Definitely
okay. Just a rumor. Don't bring adoptions to you.
No.
And except if, okay. So we'll just assume don't unless you have like a really good reason.
Unless no one else will help you.
That's right. No one else will help you, or you have trust issues, right? Also. But speaking of trust issues, isn't a trust exactly the thing that you tell people to have in order to not do this whole probate thing? How does that work?
So you don't necessarily need a trust. Some people are completely fine without a trust. Trust is a good vehicle for people that have young children that they need to take care of, or blended families where there are children from different marriages, or if you have a lot of property that you don't want to keep retitling, then a trust is definitely the way to go. But not everybody needs a trust, and when attorneys try to force you into something like that, you need to figure out why exactly you need it and why an alternative method won't be useful to you.
Okay, so are there alternative methods that'll keep people out of probate that are not a trust? Or is it just that there are some people who they're just never going to go through probate at all? Like,
Both. So if you have no property, you don't own anything, you don't have a car, you don't have a bank account, there's nothing titled in your name, you won't go through probate because you don't have any assets. If you don't have any assets, then you can't pay any of your debts, so the court doesn't really care. Now, that's one way to avoid probate, is by not owning anything. The second way, aside from a trust, is to put a beneficiary on everything. So if you have a bank account, if you have a car, if you have a house, whatever it is. In Nevada, we're pretty friendly in terms of beneficiaries. So we can name beneficiaries on a lot of things. It doesn't work really well when you have blended families. Doesn't work really well when you have young kids, because that means that they're getting those items when they turn 18 and you have no say on how it's distributed. So I usually recommend that for people who are older, whose kids are in their 50s or 60s, and they're completely fine. Maybe they have one kid and they're going to leave everything to that kid. If they just have a car or a bank account, it's not a...
only one of their kids is like even worth talking to.
Right.
So if you just want to if you want to cut off Bob because Sue's the best kid and you want to just stick it to Bob later, you could just put beneficiary on everything and then let it go.
Yep.
And then what happens if Bob comes in and contests that later? Is that going to be a problem?
Beneficiary designations are very difficult to contest.
Right. So these cool movie things that we see where somebody comes in and challenges a will or challenges a thing, and then there's like a big fight, is that all pretty much made up, or is it because they went for a will, that's why all that stuff happens?
That happens all the time.
Happens all the time?
Yeah. The other thing is wills aren't recorded anywhere. So I could have a will and you could have a copy of my old will. And if something happens to me, you're going to say, look at this will that I have. And somebody else can find my post-dated will and say, just kidding, this is the actual one she had. Because they're not recorded anywhere. If I had done one that no one had found, then the one that they had found that was the original would reign supreme, which is why it's always important if you change something, you get those copies that you gave to other people back.
Okay, so what you could do is you could give 5 different wills, maybe even all dated the same day, to each of your kids. Then fake your death. Hire a videographer crew to surreptitiously follow around your 5 kids, and then a month later go, haha, I'm alive, and now new reality show. This would be the way to handle it?
Yeah, probably.
Is that the plan? Is this something we should do?
You're foiling.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe the problem is that the punchline of all that would be best if you were actually dead, but then it doesn't sound like as much fun.
No, I don't think so.
No. So let's not do that.
No.
I mean, I like the plan. I would watch that show. That might actually be a show I would watch.
Well, yeah, I just think there's probably some sort of emotional trauma that you're going to get in trouble with.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, that's right. We don't want any emotional trauma. All right. So have you, is there a story somewhere in here? I mean, I've tried to throw out some exciting ones, but do you get to have some real exciting ones that happen from time to time?
In probate stories?
Yes.
They're really sad.
They're sad?
Probate stories aren't fun. They're sad. Yeah. They're very, very sad. And that's...
So they would only make a good movie on I don't know, Hallmark Channel. Did we both say Hallmark Channel?
Yeah.
This episode sponsored by the Hallmark Channel and crying.
And Kleenex.
And the letter M.
And the letter K for Kleenex.
Yes. Now it's sponsored by Kleenex also. Okay, so that's super cool. All right. Well, so aren't trusts though, and all this kind of stuff, isn't this a thing that's only for really rich people?
No, but it is for rich people, and it's also for middle class people, and also...
Yeah, but it's super, super mega expensive, right? You're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars protecting everything, right?
If you are, you're going to the wrong attorney.
Aha. Is it possible to even suggest a range of what these kinds of things cost? Because maybe people just don't realize how within reach it is.
Yeah. So estate planning is a plethora of documents. I mean, you could go up to like 20 documents, and low to high range is generally $100 if you're looking for a deed to $3,500 if you're looking for a trust with double the documents for everyone.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound quite so bad. Like, so if the only thing you're trying to protect is a house and you need a beneficiary or something like that, then you're talking like $100 just to file that or to prepare and file that. That seems like not very much money to protect your house.
Usually the biggest asset people have.
Okay. Are there, I was talking to a gay couple because now, of course, they could get married, but this particular couple was not married. Is that like a circumstance where some of these documents might protect them significantly more because of that relationship and such? Like, isn't there a danger that family's going to swoop in and start taking assets should one of them die?
That happens 90% of the time.
90% of the time. And
it doesn't even have to be a gay couple. It can be an engaged couple. It can be people that think that they have common law marriage, which isn't legal in Nevada and doesn't exist. So
that's really interesting because some states do have common law marriage, right? Like 8 or 10 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, but basically couples who are not legally married, and I brought up that example simply because of somebody that I know specifically in that situation where they're not married and they could be, but that's a significant danger then. Even if both names are on, like if both names are on the house or on a deed, like does that help with solving that problem?
Well, if they're a co-owner, then they own it either 50% or 100%, depending on how title is held. So that wouldn't matter for that asset. But overall, if there was something that wasn't titled in that other person's name, then if it goes through probate, they're not getting anything, absent a will or trust or something like that.
Well, let's talk about like a thing like when there's kids involved, because like, of course, if both the parents die, then there's a real question about where those kids go. And if you have, if you've got like a super crazy sister, but then you also have like a dependable brother, and you really would prefer the brother to do that, isn't this a place where you can make sure that those things happen? What happens if the sister, like if you don't have anything and the sister shows up first, like she got a bigger claim? Is there any?
No, it's going to come up to the best interest of the child, and that's what the court always looks at. But if the brother doesn't even think that you wanted him to have them or never knew that you were thinking about that, then he lets the sister go, and whoever has, as long as the court finds her suitable, then that's who gets it.
So at the end of the day, you're leaving the decision to a judge to come in and make a decision about who's going to be the best for your child, and that may or may not be a person with whom you would agree with.
100%.
Yeah. So, but then you're telling me that this isn't terribly expensive for somebody to get that sorted out so that there's zero confusion later.
100%. Now you have to be careful because you put that in a will. I mean, you could be put other places, but generally it's in the will. That means though that if you and your partner or your spouse, you have to agree on who that person is going to be. So I can't name somebody and then my husband names somebody else, because then it's just going to lead to a court battle. So
right,
we have to be sure of being on the same page.
Okay. Well, those things all seem very compelling to me. I think we're going to have to make sure that I have like a trust and all these things. Oh, wait, I already do. Already handled by Whitney Short, if we haven't said her name in several minutes, so that you could know who I'm talking to if you zoned out at the beginning and got confused by all the discussion from Star Trek. Is there anything else you want to kind of close off with about it all? Is there something I forgot that you really think would be important for people to know? Or was this just the most amazing interview ever?
It was the most amazing interview ever, but I do want to say that procrastination is not good.
Procrastination is not good.
No.
It's like, I've never heard that before. That is amazing advice. Well, thank you, Whitney. Thanks for this time. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope people out there have enjoyed it. This is a thing I want to be doing more of, Heatherstone Academy, a learning opportunity. And for now, though, we're going to stop. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.